Alright, so this video lecture will talk about one exercise 1740. You can find the question in your textbook, and also you can read my slide here. I'm going to post this question online as well. So I'm going to go through this question with you, and basically here we're looking at transferring cost measures, and there are two measures are required. One is a weighted average, one is FIFO. I would assume that you have read the question already, so I'm going to jump into the calculation part directly. So first we're going to apply weighted average method. So we're going to summarize the total fermenting department cost for July and assign cost to units completed and transferred out and to units in ending work in process. So this is a typical question in this chapter. So first of all, I'm going to set up a table. So I'm going to go through step 1, step 2, and step 3, 4, 5, and so on to tell you how to solve this question. So first of all, let me make this make a few columns. I think I need 5, so I'm going to widen them. Okay, I think probably too much. Let me go backwards here. Okay. All right, I think this is pretty good now. All right, so first of all, I'm going to take a look at physical units, and I'm going to look at the equivalent units. Okay, and this is the weighted average. Keep that in mind. So I will put the weighted average here. So I'm going to basically take a look at the transfer in and the direct materials later on. Okay, and so this is a similar question to what we have learned in what we have studied in the lecture slides. Now we have conversion cost. Okay, all right, so this is what we have here. Let me put them in the middle. Okay, so that's it. So let's start with the question here. So we can use the table right here to go through all the details. Okay, go through all the details. So here's the thing. Consider the fermenting department where direct materials, bottles, and other packaging are added at the end of the process. Okay, conversion costs added evenly during the process. Good. And transferring costs are added in the beginning, right in the beginning. Okay, then we do have some percentages of completion, and here it is. So we start with the 2,500, then we have 10,000 started. Okay, and we have 10,500 completed and transferred out, and finally we have 2,000 left. So this is the information we have. Then we have some cost information and the percentage of completion. So first of all, I'm going to take a look at WIP. So WIP physical units, we're looking at 2,500. Okay, and also we have TI transferred in during current. Okay, during current period. Okay, so here we're looking at 10,000, and after that, in total we have 12,500. Okay, perfect. And because we're doing the weighted average, you know that basically we're going to group those number of those physical units into two groups. One is completed and transferred. We don't care, first in, first out, and so on. We just blend them. Okay, so we're looking at how many out of 12,500 will be completed and transferred, and how many will be left. Okay, so therefore we're going to take a look at completed, okay, and T transfer out, okay, and then we have WIP, okay, ending. So for complete transfer out, we know that the question says 10,500, okay, physical units, and ending inventory we're looking at 2,000. So together they should be 12,500. So that's basically the same numbers. I'm not going to repeat that. Okay. So for the TI, we know that because we're looking at a weighted average, we're going to blend them together. So we look at like a new fresh start. So for TI, we're going to consider from 0 to 10,500. So same here. Okay, so we're going to look at all of the 10,500. Okay, we start from the fresh all the way to the end. For the 200, we have to do some work here. For transfer in, we know that it's 100. Okay, so we'll multiply 2,000 by 100. For this one, it's a little tricky here. So let me put one more column here because I definitely want to emphasize. For the TI, the percentage of completion is 100%. For DM, it's 0 because when those units, they stay in the WIP, so we don't package them. So no direct material packaging cost. Then for the rest, the question says, you can go back to the slide, the question said that 50%. So I'm going to use a 50% right here. Okay. So you can multiply 2,000 by each percentage. Okay, for this one, let me move this. Okay, so let me multiply this by basically 2,000 times 0, you get a 0, and for this one I'm going to multiply 2,000 times 50%, so you get a 1,000. So the total will be the following. First of all, the number of physical units is still 12,500. For TI, we're looking at 12,500, which is basically add these two numbers. Then for the DM, we're looking at the 10,500. For conversion cost, we're looking at 11,500. So now we are done with the number of equivalent units. So the next is, now we can jump into the step 3, 4, and 5 to find out assignment of costs. So let me move this a little bit here. So here I'm going to take a look at total production costs. Okay, and once again we have TI, DM, and the conversion. Okay, so perfect. So now let's take a look at what we have here. So step 3 is right here. Okay, step 3 says that we started with WIP. Okay, so step 3 is basically a summary of all the costs. Okay, so WIP beginning. Okay, costs added. Okay, and total. So it should not be very difficult to find all these numbers. If we go back to the slide, so for the WIP total costs, so that number should be given is basically you add these two numbers. Okay, so we're gonna copy the first row of numbers down there. So that's what we have. Okay, so it's going to be 116,000. Okay, then get a 0 here. Then here we get 37,500. Okay, and this is going to be basically you add this cost. So the costs added, similarly you can go back to the slide, and these are the numbers. Okay, all these three numbers should be placed in that place. Now we can add them to find the total cost added. Okay, so I'm going to quickly write down these numbers. So I'm going to just add these numbers. Alright, so now you can figure out all the total if you like. Okay. Okay, I don't know. I think I can drag and push to find all these numbers. Perfect. Okay, so that's about step 3. Now step 4, we'll talk about the unit cost. Okay, unit cost. So all the costs up to date are these numbers. Okay, so we're gonna copy down all these numbers. Sorry, I'm gonna just write down these numbers. Okay, and for this one, I'm looking at these numbers. Okay, so step 4 is I'm going to find the unit cost. So these are the total costs. Okay, let me put a step 4 here. Okay, total cost considered, and also the number of units, right? Number of equivalent. So we're looking at these numbers. Okay, then let's find the unit cost. So basically divide the total cost considered by the total number of equivalent units. So we can find these numbers. So all these numbers are very important because we're going to use them to do the assignment of costs. So next, because of those unit costs, we can go ahead and find assignment of costs. Okay, so how many costs will be carried forward to the next department, the finished goods inventory. How much cost will stay in the WIP? So basically, these are the questions we have. So first of all, let's look at transfer out completed. Okay, completed. So, and also we have WIP ending inventory. All right, so we're going to definitely use all these numbers. Okay, all these numbers. Okay, so unit cost. Okay, so let's multiply. Okay, let's multiply the unit cost by the number of equivalent units. So keep one thing in mind, we probably have to go back to the step 1, because the step 1 and the step 2 give you all the details regarding the number of equivalent units right here. Okay, so you're going to actually use all these numbers. I'm going to highlight these numbers. Okay, so I'm going to, okay, sorry, I think I did something correctly here. Okay, let me basically just highlight these numbers. I'm going to make them red. Okay, so for the completed and the transferred out, I need to multiply the cost unit by the number of equivalent units here. Okay, so I'm going to do that for every cost. Okay, so I guess you guys see my calculation clearly. So 16.5 times 10,500. Okay, so for the ending inventory, also you have the number of equivalent units. You also multiply each number by the unit cost. Okay. Okay, so you multiply unit cost by each number. Okay. All right, so these numbers, what do you need? So now you add all the 3 numbers in the TO and the completed row. Okay, and this will tell you that, okay, for $704,025, this is the amount of finished goods inventory. Okay, finished goods inventory that will receive. Okay, so basically post a debit of this amount to finished goods inventory. Okay, and for WIP, the ending balance is going to be you add these numbers together. Okay, so the ending balance of your finished, of your WIP should be 96,500. So if you want, you can go ahead and find the total amount. Okay, and I should have the same number as what you have here. So this total, the bottom here, should be the same as what you have here. Okay, all right. So I'm going to get all these numbers replicated. So you can see that these numbers are the same. So this is kind of verification. Okay, verification that you are doing all the right calculations and the question is perfect. So this is actually the weighted average method. So next I'm going to talk about the FIFO. the FIFO. The FIFO is kind of similar to this one. It's kind of similar to this one. But you have to consider 3 different groups. Here you only 2 groups, completed, TO, and WIP. But next you have to consider first in, first out. So that's actually the tricky part here. So I'm going to start over a new page here. So let me just go to the next. Okay, I need a 5. Okay, sorry, it's too big for me. Alright, so this is basically what I need. So it's going to be similar, step 1 and step 2. So first of all, I'm going to take a look at the physical units, okay, and also I'm going to look at the equivalent units, okay. So let me put all the numbers in the center. Then you have TI, which is the same. You have a direct materials for packaging. Then you have a conversion cost. Okay. Then the first step about the physical units is quite straightforward. Okay, the WIP beginning inventory. Okay, let me put the beginning. Okay, so that's what we have. Then you are going to transfer in 10,000. Okay, so in total we know that is 12,500. So up to this step you don't see any difference. So next we are going to split them. Okay, we're going to split them. Okay, so first of all is I have to take a look at the WIP beginning. Okay, so I'm done with the step 1. Step 2 talks about the equivalent units. So WIP beginning, I started with 2,500. Okay. So my question is, how could I figure out the number of equivalent units? Okay, so that's the question here. So definitely you want to identify the completion. So we know that, okay, the TI is 100% complete, so no any extra cost, no any remaining work. For DM, we know that it's 0% of completion, so which means you definitely have to make sure you take care of the 2,500 units in packaging. Okay, so you definitely have to invest from 0 to 100%. For the conversion cost, okay, we know that 25% are completed, so therefore you have to take care of 75% of the conversion costs for these 2,500 units. So that's pretty clear. So therefore what we can do is first of all we multiply, okay, this 2,500 by the remaining work. The remaining work is 100% minus whatever percentage of completion, in this case 100%. So therefore you should get a 0. Okay, for DM it's the same thing. We're going to multiply 2,500 by the remaining percentage, which is 100%, then minus 0%. Okay, so which means you have to do 100% of work. So it's a 2,500. For the conversion, okay, we're looking at 2,500 multiplied by 100% minus 25%. So you have to finish 75% of the conversions. So you have to you have to pay attention to 1,875 equivalent units for the conversion. All right, perfect. Then let's take, because it's a FIFO. Okay, I forgot to put a FIFO in the top here. Because it's FIFO, so once we finish the 2,500, that we assume that we take care of the beginning inventory. Then, okay, then we have 10,500 total units completed and transferred out this time. So that gives us actually 8,000 left. 8,000 left. So here I'm going to start the second group. Okay, if you take a look at the question, during the current period, okay, there are about 10,500 units actually completed and transferred out. So now I will have to subtract the assumed 2,500 beginning units complete and transfer out to get the numbers, so which is 8,000. Okay, so I'm pretty sure they are all 100%. Okay, they are all 100%. Okay, so you have to complete them from 0 to 100%. Okay, so therefore they are all 8,000. Okay, so finally I'm going to look at the WIP ending. Okay, ending. I know that I have only 2,000 left, because if you use 12,500 to subtract 2,500, then to subtract 8,000, you should have only 2,000 left. Okay. Then let's take a look at the percentage of completion. So for the any inventory, the TI, you have to go from 0 to 100%. So for the DM is going to be 0%, because it will do nothing with that. You know how you have no cost investment. For the conversion cost, it says 50%, which is perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to take a look at, in order for me to have a percentage completion, so how do I deal with the number of equivalent units? So for this one, it's going to be 2,000 times 100%. For the DM, it should be 0%. For the conversion, it should be 2,000 multiplied by 50%. Okay, up to this stage. So we have 1,000 here. So now you can figure out the number of equivalent units that you have to consider under the FIFO method. Okay, so this will be basically you add these three numbers together. Okay, so you can drag and pull all the way here. So we're looking at 10,000, 10,500, and 10,875. Okay, so these are the equivalent units we're going to use. If you take a look at the slides here, you can see that our numbers currently are much smaller. The reason is apparently that for FIFO, we don't blend them. Okay, whatever has been completed, we don't care. We only consider the remaining work we have to do. Okay, so that's a big difference. So now we can go ahead and talk about step 4, 5, 6, whatever. Okay, so next is about step 3. So we're going to summarize the cost. And this is a kind of similar to the step 3 that you're gonna find out. In the previous method, the weighted average method. So what I'm going to do is I will just be lazy and just copy paste whatever we have here. So you don't see much difference, just copy paste. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. For the step 4 and step 5, it might be a little different. For step 4, okay, so we're looking at the cost. Okay, what cost we're gonna pick? Well, of course, the cost corresponding to the number of equivalent units under the FIFO method. Okay. So for the number of units, I'm looking at these three numbers. Okay. Oh, sorry, I cannot use their numbers. So I have to type them in. Okay. So this is 10,000. This is 10,500. This is 10,875. For the cost, it's a little tricky here. So you're not going to use WIP beginning, because as I said, whatever has been completed, that's it. So you're going to only consider those three numbers. Okay, those three numbers. Okay, did I make I think I might mistaken something. I apologize that if you go to the slide, I think for the FIFO, instead of this 116,000, 116,000 and 37,500, we're going to use these numbers. Apologize, so I have to make corrections for these numbers. So instead of using directly copy and paste, I have to change this number to 115,000 and 680. For this one, I will use this number. I think is the same. Okay. So therefore, okay, and for the following numbers, I also have to make corrections. I apologize that I should not copy paste. These are completely new numbers. Okay, so for the transferring costs, they are all revised. Okay, now I'm correct. Sorry, now I'm correct. So you might want to definitely check, make sure you put all these correct numbers there. Okay, so make sure you replace these two numbers. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of highlight. Okay, so these two numbers are different from the weighted average. All the rest are the same. Okay, so now for the cost, what I'm going to do is I'm going to only copy and paste these three values because only they will affect my calculations, help me to find my unit costs. Okay, so what I need to do is just divide the cost considered by the corresponding number of equivalent units. Okay, so it should be pretty straightforward calculation. Then you should get all these numbers ready. So now we have the unit cost. So now we can take a look at step 5, and this is about assignment. Okay, assignment of costs. Okay, a cost. So this is going to be quite interesting. Okay, because now you have 3 different groups to handle. So to make my life easy, what I'm going to do is I need to do some copy paste work. So I want to use those numbers. So I'm going to move them down here a little bit so that I can conveniently apply these numbers. Okay, and actually I focus on these numbers more. These are more important for me. So I'm going to see if I can use this number easily. Okay, let me see. Let me just take a look at how I'm going to arrange my calculations. Okay, so if you guys don't mind, I'm going to push the step 4 and step 3 and step 4 calculations further down because all I need is these unit cost numbers. So I will get them later. I will push them down so that I can go directly to step 5. So I can put all these numbers together. Okay, for step 5, first of all, I'm going to put the unit costs there. So it's $37.6 and $10.55 and $14. Okay, so under each category, these are the unit costs. So now I'm going to take a look at. Alright, so for the WIP, what I'm supposed to is WIP has 2,500 units completed transferred. Okay, so left over, and in the beginning I'm going to go ahead just pull out the costs they carry in the beginning inventory, and these numbers are given. Okay, these numbers are given, so I'm not going to calculate. I don't need to calculate them. Okay, you can just go down here to copy paste down there. Okay, so of course there are some additional costs we have to add to the WIP in order to complete the 2,500, and we are going to multiply the remaining equivalent the number of the remaining equivalent units right here, those 3 numbers, by the corresponding unit cost respectively, so that we can find out, in order to complete these 2,500 units, how much additional cost we have to add to. Okay, so for instance here we have a 0, so it's nothing, just a 0. Okay, that's simple. Okay, for this one we are going to multiply $10.55 by the 2,500 units. Okay, that will tell me, okay, well, $26,375 will be added. Okay, will be added to this WIP beginning inventory. So let me put a beginning inventory there. I forgot. Sorry about it. And for this one, I will multiply the $14 by the 1,875. Okay, so now I can definitely figure out total cost. So before I start my work, this is 2,500 units. They carry this much cost. Now I'm going to invest additionally this much cost to 100% complete these 2,500 units. Perfect. Okay. Then I also have started and completed. Okay, and how many? So basically 8,000. Okay, so they started from the 0% all the way to 100%. Okay, oh sorry, I should not copy these numbers down here because I'm looking at the cost. So what I need to do is I need to multiply the unit cost by the number 8,000 for each. Okay. Should be pretty easy work, and multiply 8,000 by $14. Okay. So now I can add all these three numbers. Okay. So So for the remaining 8,000 units that I have to start it and complete, I have to invest this much. So now I can report the total cost that carried by these 10,500 units, okay, that are completed and transferred out. So I can report this amount because these costs will be carried forward to the finished goods inventory. Okay, so because these 10,500 units will be completed and transferred out. Okay, so they carry all these costs. So now I'm going to add all these costs, and once again the first number, that's from the beginning inventory, okay, of WIP. Then you invest this much to complete this beginning inventory. Then you invest additional $497,200 to the 8,000 to complete this. So therefore this amount will go to finished goods inventory. Okay. Still we have to report the WIP ending inventory, correct? Because that's going to be on your balance sheet. So we have 2,000 left. Okay, and the number of equivalent units, we have 2,000 for TI, 0 for DM, and 1,000 for conversion cost. So all we have to do is multiply once again each unit cost by the number of equivalent units for each category of cost. So let's do that. So we multiply 2,000 by this unit cost, okay, and we multiply 0 by whatever number, which gives us 0. Then we multiply 1,000 by $14. Okay. So right now I can add all these three numbers. Okay. To report the WIP ending balance for these 2,000 units, which is 89,200. Okay, if you want, you can add all these three numbers together. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I will just simply add these numbers, and I will tell you why I do that and what I want to verify. And I don't need to add these numbers, sorry. Okay, so the reason I'm adding these three numbers is that I just want to verify the total should be the given number in the question, the total investment during the current period, because this 153,180 has nothing to do with these additional costs. These additional costs should basically tell you that, okay, I'm going to use 52,625 to complete the previous leftover. I'm going to invest 497,200 to finish 8,000 units, and then I will have 89,200 cost invested on the remaining 2,000 which are not completed, okay, which are left for the future season, for the future period. So together I should have the same number that I mentioned in my investment. So this is $639,025, which is exactly the number here, the cost added during the current period. So this verifies the correctness of my calculations. Okay, so now we are done with all step 5. So this is, once again, this is the ending balance that you should report in your balance sheet, and this is $703,005. This is a number that you are going to basically post a debit in your finished goods inventory and post a credit in your WIP inventory. Okay, so all right, so that's about this example. I hope you learn very much from these two methods, the FIFO and the weighted average, and I hope you enjoyed my calculations. All right, and thank you for watching.